Welcome back to another edition of Mindset Mondays. This week we're going to talk about our cultural interactions. So I'm starting by saying Happy Black History Month to everybody. With this one, I want to hit on how we interact with different cultures, especially since this whole pandemic, things like Juneteenth and Black History Month have kind of taken over social media and things when they come around. And there's been a lot more marketing around it where people are trying to make money off of these things. But at the base of it, I feel like a lot of people are missing the point of these days and this month, as well as our interactions with other cultures, such as like with Cinco de Mayo, how so many people have think that's the Mexican Independence Day when it's actually when they won the Battle of Puebla, which was a big battle that led to their independence, but it is not their Independence Day, nor is it something that's celebrated a lot in Mexican culture. And then same thing like with the Native American headdresses that have popped up and become a popular thing at festivals over the last 10 years, especially things like Coachella, where people are taking things that have a very deep spiritual or cultural connection to a certain group and just using them as a costume to look pretty, parade around, and otherwise, and what is seen as disrespect to those cultures. So with that, I want you to think about on how you interact with different cultures and their sacred entities and things that they've put out into this world that we all seem to kind of just consume as it's thrown at us through the media for celebration. And ultimately, the whole basis of it is for these big companies to make more money off of these things. Another one too for African Americans, our hairstyles. The big thing with that is that even as recently from middle school, high school graduations, and then workplace, like there's a lot of legal discriminatory practices that are based around our hair. I've dealt with this before, not currently at the job that I work at, but I've had this issue before, and even in school, I've had this issue with having long hair and having teachers say certain things, or just like whether it's the institution or it's somebody within the institution, with telling you that you look unprofessional, you would look better with a haircut, you should be clean shaven, and amongst other things. I think that we need to address these things and look at ourselves and where we learned our mindset around these things and where we can better be allies and support the other groups and also help uplift these things, and then also kind of take the stigma away from some of these things. Like one thing like with braids, like French braids, like all these new styles that have come up with, and since like the Kardashians started wearing them, it's kind of been the popular thing. And then same thing, another one that comes up is space buns, which they're not space buns, they're Bantu knots, and if you can look them up, it's a very cultural hairstyle from Africa, and as well as the many different styles of French braid and locks. That's another one. Like a lot of people don't understand the full name of that. Where dreadlocks is not a name that was created by the people who actually wear locks. It's something that was grown on in American culture, and it was kind of more of a demeaning term towards the hairstyle. And now many people have these hairstyles and don't understand them and understand the cultural significance behind these hairstyles, and people feel as if they can just do them what they want. So my big thing with that is like cultural appropriation. I've talked to people who don't believe that exists, and that's a complete false statement. It does exist, because once a certain people is able to use our cultures and wear them and benefit from them and not be ridiculed, but actually more so celebrated for them, when we still have to fight for the ability to wear these hairstyles and our way, and then also taking away the significant meaning behind these things, the cultures and things of that nature. I don't agree with the statement that imitation is the biggest form of flattery. imitation often is disrespectful. Usually, when you're making fun of somebody or mocking someone, is not considered a sign of respect or love or anything endearing for that matter. Um, so, with that, another question I have for you is like, do you embrace your own culture? How would you feel if we took something that was sacred to your culture and decided to just use it as a fashion statement, or to just walk around at a music festival and use something that means a lot to your spirituality or religion and just use it as something to be pretty in or pose in or kind of get attention? I think these are things that we really need to pay attention to in our interactions with one another, especially because a lot of people don't actually know or interact with people who are from these cultures. So that's one thing I ask of you this month. Like, if you're gonna throw on a dashiki, if you're gonna wear one of these T-shirts that's all over the internet, can like the identity politics things I feel like have to stop, and the identity allyship where it's more seems like it's just something you're gonna do for the month, you're gonna do for social media, so it seems like you're an ally. But have you really done the background work? Do you actually interact with people from those cultures? And not the token, I have one black friend or my best friend is black. Like that is, I still feel is a complete line of bullshit. Because even I have had friends from other cultures who have appropriated my culture, even with me explaining to them what it means. And they use it to justify like things. They use other little stupid things to justify. Like one thing I've heard people say, like using the N-word. I've heard other people use it. It's not something that I let bother me anymore. I look at it as, if that's your term of endearment to me, you have I think it shows a lack of intelligence and it shows a lack of understanding. To say that that's a term, like it's calling me bro, homie, friend, whatever. Many of the people who say that are able to give me 5-6 synonyms right off their tongue of other words that would be completely acceptable in all terms. And then another thing I want to say about that is, like, when people say that as a term of endearment, have you ever heard them slip up and call their boss that? Have they slipped up and called their mother or father or grandparents that? So the whole idea of it being seen as a term of endearment makes zero sense, because when you need to hold your tongue or you need to use a different word when it comes to a different group of people, you have no problem using a different word. So, and I'm going to speak more on black culture because that is exactly what I am. I am a black man in this country. So I do want to highlight the other things which I started with, but I can't speak on those as an in-depth because I'm not from those cultures, and I don't think I would do a complete disservice. I think I would do it a disservice by speaking on it without knowing the complete history and only just the few things I've been able to read about it. Because I know a lot of these things go a lot deeper than just stuff that we're easily able to Google. A lot of these things have are traditions that are thousands of years old that have been passed down through grandparents and different types of ceremonies and whatnot. So I don't feel comfortable speaking on those, but I think those are there are other cultural appropriations that are regular in our society that I feel we need to address and that you should look inward on, and then also take some time to go speak to someone of those cultures before you decide to throw on, whether it's an outfit, a hairdress, a hairstyle, all of that. Just kind of learn the history about it, and then understand where if someone is bothered by you wearing that or using a term or any of those things of the sort, that you take time to listen and understand versus getting defensive. I understand that it feels like you're being attacked, but for them it is an attack because that's something that is sacred to them. So your feelings of being attacked are a lot different than actually attacking or demeaning someone's culture, ethnicity, and a list of other things that fall under these categories. My big thing that I want to say about all this, kind of that one thing that I've kind of developed this year, is that understanding develops knowledge, and then knowledge develops the intellect to speak on that knowledge. And then after that, wisdom, that knowledge becomes wisdom, and wisdom is liberating. So with that, you can, after getting to that level and understanding, you may be able to wear these things and understand these things, and then also take into context when and how you choose to do these things. But for today, I want you to kind of take a step back and look at your mindset on these things. Are these things that is your view on these things just like something that you kind of grew up with? Is it something that you ever actually thought about, or is it just something like you saw, you thought it was cool, so you felt that you should be able to wear it just like any other fashion statement, hairstyle, or anything that our media pushes forward? And then also, have you taken time to look into the background of these things before you do it? And before you get offended, have you taken time to understand why someone addressed you about these things? Take this week to look back at that. Actually, take this whole, like, this is something that you should be doing regularly, because this goes all the way back, go down to Christian Christmas, which is technically a pagan holiday. And other things of that nature, where we kind of have completely taken the meaning away from it, and it's become something for capitalism and personal gain. So take some time, look over these things, see if you are guilty of any of the things, or and then also figure out how you can actually be a true ally, and not just posting a link, not just wearing a t-shirt, but actually be an ally. Actually talk to people. Are you correcting people when you don't have someone of that background around you? Are people allowed to say and use derogatory terms or misuse terms and things, or take on accents, and even our dancing? Like, what one of the big things this last year, like the top 10 TikTok earners, none of them are African American or black, but yet they took the dances from our music and from our creators and were able to make a platform off of them, while you don't see many of them actually speaking up on how we aren't highlighted for our things, but they're celebrated when other cultures take them and do the exact same thing. So with that, I'm gonna leave you for tonight. Sending you peace, love, and light. Have a great evening, and take some time to really delve into this. This is something that's really personal to me, and I'm going to continue with this week. There may actually be more videos, because I want to highlight some of these things and use some of the videos and things from other professionals who can speak on these things in a lot deeper tone than I am allowed to. And then other things, and then we're going to take it back and meet back up on Wednesday for our midweek motives, so what our motivation behind why we choose to do the things we do and with other cultures, how we choose to interact with them, and why is a big thing. Like, because these things really do hold value to certain people, and it is personally really annoying. I try not to acknowledge it much anymore, but it's always had that little ting in my heart where it's like, I want to say something, but I've also learned that you got to pick and choose your battles, especially being a black man in America. Have a great evening, and I'll see you guys back here Wednesday.